Well, good evening, everyone, or good morning, or whatever it is time that you're watching this, and welcome to the Quarantine Chat. For those of you that may be watching this on Facebook and don't know what I'm talking about, my name's Jimmy Sundquist, and I'm the organist here at First United Methodist Church, and occasionally I will put a little program on in the choir room at our church, and I play some light classics and some popular songs and hymns, and I call it the Choirside Chat. And it's play on words on Franklin Roosevelt's Fireside Chat. But since we've all been locked up in our houses for a while and can't get out to the church to see each other, I thought I would do my best to bring a little bit of joy to your living room. That's the plan. I hope it works. The song that you just heard was called Meet Me in St. Louis, Louis. Hopefully some of you out there knew the chorus to that song. I can remember as a child, my grandma Sundquist, my dad's mom, would sing that song to me. And she was the last of a long line of children, and she was the youngest in her family by quite a few years, which probably explains why she knew this song. She was born in 1923, but this song was written in 1904. Now, you might be asking, why? Why would he play something so old? It's going to be a theme tonight, let me tell you, because of one thing, U.S. copyright law. We are not allowed to stream anything on the internet that was written after a certain point. We have a license at the church to be able to stream hymns and such for our church services, but since this isn't a church service, it doesn't really count. So I have to play all things that are in the public domain, which, long story short, means anything written before 1924 is fine, but after 1924 is not fine. So all the songs that you hear this evening will have been written before 1924, including that one. So, we're going to start off with a little bit of a classical section. That's what I usually do. And welcome to our living room. I should have said that before. This is my piano. Her name's Josephine. And the next thing you're going to hear from her is a piece by Brahms. This is Johannes Brahms' Intermezzo in A. This is from Opus 118. This is a piece that I played in college, and it was one of my favorites when I played it in college. with some Brahms. For the next piece, we're going to stay in my college repertory. This next one is a piece by Schubert that I played as part of my senior recital. At that time, I played an entire sonata of his that is like 40 minutes long, and I had the entire thing memorized, which I cannot believe that I had memorized, because I was looking at it the other day and thought, my goodness. The only movement of it that I could still feel comfortable playing for you all was the third movement, which is a minuet. So this is the minuet from Schubert's G major sonata. So there was my Schubert. We're going to move on now to a fan favorite. I played this at the last choir side chat that I held, but so many of you remarked that it was your favorite piece that I thought I might include it on this one. So we're going to go to Debussy now and have a little Moonlight. Claire de Lune is next. Well, if you were watching, you probably realized why most pianists memorize their music. I was really bad at memorizing music, and I still am. And that's why I have an extra little page of this public domain piece that I photocopied and put off to the side so I wouldn't have to turn a page in a bad place. And then I forgot to turn the page when I was supposed to, so I ended up making the bad page turn anyway. So, that's why you memorize your music, folks. All right. We need a little bit of humor now and a little bit of lightness. And the thing that is guaranteed to get me smiling is a good Strauss waltz. Most of you are probably familiar with the Blue Danube, and it is a great piece of music. One of my favorite waltzes, though, by Strauss is called Roses from the South. So I'm going to play you that. This is from a book of reductions of orchestra music. It was really common in the mid to late 1800s for composers to publish piano reductions of their orchestra works so that people that didn't have access to a gramophone or a concert hall could try to play them in their own living room. And this is not normally a piece that you would play in concert, but I love it and we're going to play it. piece. You might have noticed me furiously turning pages during that piece because this is a 10-minute long piece that I was trying to make into a 5-minute long one. Strauss wrote these waltzes for people to dance to, and they didn't want to have to stop every few minutes and wait for the next piece, so all of his waltzes go on for a really long time. All right. Something that I thought might be fun would be to share with you a little bit about how I practice music, because I don't know that I've ever talked about that before. So, I'm going to share with you a little bit of a piece that I'm working on. This is by Brahms again, and this one's called Capriccio. And I'll show you a little bit, just a little bit, about how I break down a piece of music to practice it, because it doesn't obviously come out ready, even though some of these were probably not even ready anyway. But here's how I go about working on a piece of music. I start with hands apart, taking one hand at a time, and I take it slow. One of the cardinal rules of practicing that my teacher drilled into me in college was that you shouldn't play anything faster than you are able to play it at that point. So, I start off maybe with the right hand. This is the right hand for this part, and I start with it slow. And then if I hit something that I see a note that I need to make, I'll pick up my pencil and I'll make a little note. That should have been a D natural, and maybe put a fingering in there if I have a fingering, and I'll pick back up where I left off. So that particular part I wrote in a fingering because this part's supposed to be staccato, while the other part's supposed to be legato, so I wrote in some fingerings there for me to remember how I'm going to do that. So once I've got that down, maybe I speed it back up a little bit. Not quite. There we go. So, then maybe I'll take the left hand and do it really slow. Maybe I can speed that back up once I've got that. This piece I've been working on a little bit, so it's not quite as raw as it would be if I were just starting it. So. Not quite. That was too fast because I couldn't play it. And so on and so forth. And then I would get to the part where I put the hands together, and I would do that slowly. First. That wasn't quite right. I better go back. Then I would go back and do it a little faster. And finally, hopefully, I would be able to make it up to the real tempo. And so on. Not quite there yet, but I'm working on it. If you want to hear the whole of that piece, I'm planning to put it on my All Classical Music Sunday this year when we get there, hopefully around the end of September, the end of August, beginning of September, before the choir picks back up. We hope. All right, we're going to go off into the popular song world now, but nothing you're going to hear is from after 1924. So I'm going to jump back in with another piece that my Grandma Rose used to sing to me and that I remember quite well. We're going to see how many of these songs you can identify at all, maybe how many of them, if you can identify them, you'll maybe get them by the time we get to the chorus, because all of these old songs have a verse that most of us have probably never heard. At least I've never heard a lot of them. So we'll see when you can identify this one, if you can identify this one. But this is another memory of my Grandma Rose. And looking at my music on the screen is cheating, if you can actually see it. I'm not sure with all the lights in here. In my merry Oldsmobile. Come away with me, Lucille, in my merry Oldsmobile. This one was from 1905. And there's a lot of little interesting innuendos that are often stuck into these songs, no matter how old they are. You think maybe songs from the 1800s, 1890s, and the early 1900s would be innocent, but at the end of this song, the last line is, "To the church we'll swiftly steal, then our wedding bells will peal. You can go as far as you like with me in my merry Oldsmobile." So, think about that. My grandma singing that to me when I was a kid. One more song that makes me think of my Grandma Rose. Secondhand Rose, but she was definitely not secondhand. She was a great lady. All right. Another one to see if you can identify before we get to the chorus. was Beautiful Ohio, which I think is the state song of Ohio. If I'm not sure. I'd have to look that up. I'm thinking actually of my other grandmother now, who is watching this right now, my Grandma Birdie. She used to play piano for me too when I was a kid. She can play some piano. She was taught to play, but she could only play in one key because she plays by ear, and that key is the key of E flat, which is a key signature of 3 flats. And I'm thinking of her because almost like 2 or 3 or 4 of these old popular songs that I looked at for this session are in that key, in the key of E flat, including that one. So Grandma, you could play that one. And the next one is 2. Let's see if you get this one. That was Toot Toot Tootsie, which was in an Al Jolson movie, apparently. Look that one up. All right. Got a few more of these popular ones for you. Hope you're enjoying this. I am. That was Down by the Old Mill Stream, and if any of you out there are watching this from Mid-Ohio Valley Ringers, you should have got that on the verse because we played it last season. All right, two more popular songs, and then we'll be almost to the end of our program together. That was Ain't We Got Fun, another one with a lovely hidden, not so hidden innuendo this time. Maybe some of you know this song, but the end of the chorus, the words are, "There's nothing sure, the rich get rich and the poor get children." We're going to close the popular song section with probably the best thing we could close it with. This is the beginning of popular song in America. I often teach this to my children in my general music class at school. This next song is the first song in America that sold more than 1 million copies of sheet music at that time. So, we'll see if you know it. All right, we're going to finish our time together with one more piece. Some of you might know of the comedian Victor Borge. He was a very, very talented pianist who also happened to love making people smile and laugh. My favorite quotations of his is that a laughter or a smile, I forget which one it is right now, a smile is the shortest distance between two people. So, Victor Borge gave amazing concerts where he would poke fun of and have a laugh involving many various people and props and music upside down and inside out, but he would always end his concert with a serious piece, and he would close out with this famous encore piece that's often used that many of you might know by Schumann. It's from a set of 16, not sure about that, 13 short pieces called Kinderszenen, which means scenes of childhood. And this one is the 7th one in the set. It's called Träumerei, which means dreaming. So until we see each other again, I'll be thinking and dreaming about you.